welcome back. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Candy's Corner. I'm your girl Candy, and here we talk about everything from motherhood to mental health to coffee with Christ. We get it in over here on this channel because I'm trying to help us heal. You hear what I said there? I want to help us heal together. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for joining my experience and just hearing my journey, and hopefully I am helping you out there also grow and journey with me. Okay, we're here to heal. All right, so I want to say today, y'all, I do not have coffee today. I have juice. I've been juicing y'all like crazy. Trying to get right. It's February, so I put my little straw in here. I'm gonna sip like a lady. Oh yeah, that ginger do a little something in the back of your throat, like whoa. It'll wake you up, boy. It'll wake you up, trying to shake up the room. So anywho, I'm so happy to have you here. Come on in, take a seat, and let's get into it. What is brewing in the mental health community? So y'all know all right, y'all, let me put this down so I can talk to y'all. Get in here. So, mommies, do you remember how it felt like when you're pregnant, you find out you're having a baby? It's a whole mixed bag of emotions. You're excited, you're nervous, you're trying to figure it out and plan it all out in your head, like who's going to do what and your job, and if there are other kids involved, and how you're going to tell your partner, and how things are going to get paid for. And maybe you just decided to do some big dreams or goals and all this stuff, and now you're just like, oh, maybe I have to defer that. I had a vacation plan this summer. Maybe we got to hold off, or maybe I have to modify, to turn up because we got a precious cargo on board. There's so many things that go through your mind. Daycare, how much is that? If you're going to find a reputable daycare, someone that's not going to take advantage or hurt your child, and the cost of it, like if you're going to be able to properly breastfeed or latch, and Similac gonna go high as the wind. Y'all know it's 2023. We had a whole shortage in infant milk. Like, it's just been really, really crazy. So if you aren't able to produce and your milk supply doesn't come through, you're thinking, okay, what we gonna do to feed this baby? There's so many thoughts. Is this a good time? And if it's not a good time, how we gonna make it work so it can be a good time? Like, if you have the support of the father, your family, who's in your village, who is going to help, and a lot of times the mothers, let's just be honest, a lot of times a mom's role in the household, she's like the architect, right? Like, she's the nurse, she's the cook, she's the, the referee between siblings, she's the conflict resolution between the spouses, she's the, the drop off, the pickups for programs and aftercare and football and basketball, and making sure they're on top of with their doctor's appointments, making sure daddy's on top with his doctor's appointment. Like, mommy runs household, okay? She got the calendar up, she got the finances, who's going where, what's going where. Like, mommies do that, right? Mommies do that. But a lot of times when mommies aren't feeling good, like, there's not a lot of rescue there for the mother support. Now, don't get me wrong, because I hear what you're going to say. There are tons of daddies that are doing the doggone thing. And high five to you for holding down your household, okay? Yeah, you lit. But realistically, for the most part, it's mommies that really have to, thug it out. And daddies really just kind of, they go to work, they provide financially, and, they pick up kids and they interact with them. But when that child is hurt or, sneezing, they don't run to daddy, they run to mommy. So, mommies have more of that caregiving role on top of being that orator for that household. Okay, so don't get crazy. Just hear me out. Hear where I'm going with this. So when a mom has a baby, when she has a newborn and she's going through her whole gestational period and all that stuff, and then the baby is birthed, there is an uptick, there's a spike hormonally, there's a spike emotionally within her biologically that she cannot control, right? and it's an abundance of overwhelming thoughts and feelings and emotions and, you know, how to's and where to's and where out. And like, oh, it's, if I could just get a mommy to be like, yes, girl, woo, that's a time. A time, because you know, like, so many things still have to get taken care of. But I want to talk about who's taking care of mommy just for 1 second, because 1 in 7 mothers experience what is known as PMAD, which is perinatal mood and anxiety disorder, also known as postpartum depression. This goes undiagnosed in so many moms. 1, because of shame and guilt. You know, everyone tells you that having a baby is the most beautiful thing you can ever experience, and it's just gumdrops and fairy tales and, you know, unicorns and pixie dust. But oftentimes, like, the real conversation about how hard it is, the physical impacts, the physical changes, the demanding schedule, the sleep deprivation, the emotional changes that you experience, you know, how these things really take a toll. 1 in 7 moms report to have postpartum depression. But you know what makes that really an alarming number is not even the 1 in 7. It's the fact that 50% of moms who do suffer from postpartum depression go untreated. They never tell anyone. And although there is a screening process that should be happening in your OBGYN for after you have a baby, that screening process is so skewed because, honestly, mommies, we are so strong, and we do have an awareness to how speaking our truth about mothering, how that can come off. And you don't want nobody to think like you don't love your baby, or you don't like you don't care, or that you're not excited to be a parent. So we choose our words very carefully. Like, someone is asking, you got a 6-week-old baby, you get to that appointment, they're asking how you feeling, mom, and you're just like, yeah, we're doing good, you know, we're adjusting, but we're doing fine. What you really should be saying is, you know, your truth. Like, I am tired. This baby is on my boob. I got another kid running around crying about something. They're missing their attention. My spouse still wants me to be a wife. Like, food still has to be prepared. Kids still got to get to school. These bills still got to get paid. I've had a stain on my counter for 3 days. There's toys in my living room that I just haven't had the opportunity to pick up because I'm literally still recovering and still trying to parent these other children at the same time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. I'm locking myself in the bathroom. I just need like 30 minutes uninterrupted of peace of mind and quiet. Like, I got the shower running. I'm not even in the shower. I'm just sitting here because that's how overwhelmed I am. Like, I'm beyond the point of overstimulation, but I can't say all that right now because I don't want you to look at me crazy. That's what really happens in those doctor's appointments. So because people aren't like very ready to vocalize their truth in fear of the mom shaming and the guilt that comes behind not being like, oh my God, this is the most precious thing that's ever happened to me. A lot of women don't say, yo, it's rough. Like, I am struggling emotionally to find the drive to do this stuff, and I'm only doing it out of sheer obligation that I know it has to get done. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the difference between like baby blues and postpartum depression. So let me just take a sip right there. Okay, so listen, baby blues is that adjustment period, right? It's that first 2 weeks or so after you have a baby where you're just kind of like, you're tired, you're mentally drained, your body's still aching, and you're just kind of like going through emotions, but you're fine. It's just like an adjustment. You're just adjusting, right? Postpartum depression is when 3 weeks or more has passed and you are still lacking energy. You are still agitated. You're still suffering from anxiety. You're still, you have a low mood, low drive to do any of it. Like, you may have suffered with like suicidal ideations, dreams, visions of like something detrimental happening to your child or to you, and it's this constant like, like you don't feel like you're able to do enough. You don't feel like you are enough. And let me be clear, because I've been a mom for 7 years now, and I want to say that to a certain degree, a level of anxiety never goes away. I am constantly in fear that something is going to happen to my child, but not in a debilitating type of paralysis fear where it's like, I'm not going to let her go outside. I'm not going to let her go to school. I'm not going to let her go to the birthday party or anything like that. But just like it's constantly on my mind. Like if I don't see her, I'm like, you all right? Like I'm praying, you good? Like whenever she's not in my presence, I'm constantly concerned. So that's a general anxiety that realistically I am probably gonna feel. I don't care how old she gets, because that's my girl, like that's my baby, right? And I have been charged by the Lord to keep her safe. And especially considering when I was around her age, I encountered sexual abuse for the very first time. I am always kind of like, you good? Like somebody, bothering you. Like we have constant check-ins, constant talking about, our parts and just our personal space and private areas, and just making sure everything's intact, that no one is bothering her, and I don't have to, or, pull out the 9 and, because listen, behind her, I'm coming. You already know how I'm coming behind my own. So I feel like that's a normal, healthy anxiety to have as a mom. It's just making sure that she's safe. But the anxiety of postpartum depression is literally like, it's debilitating. Like you have a difficulty concentrating on just your day-to-day task because of this anxiety of, can I do this? Can I mom? Can I parent? How is it going to work out? Is it going to be okay? And literally like it's stopping you from being able to interact with your child. It's stopping you from being able to properly care for yourself or your child. And if you have other children, you might put like some distance between yourself and them. You might put some distance between yourself and your spouse just because you're so overwhelmed in this area right here. You're so frustrated and it's hard to articulate. And there's so much, I want to point this out again, because there's so much mom shaming in the world where a lot of times we do not have the safe spaces to say, hey girl, hey sis, hey mommy, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I don't love this kid, but I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like this right here, I don't know. Like that. And it's so normal as a parent, because I have a lot of mom friends. And so when we start talking about like the nitty and gritty of like the day to day, it's a lot of things that we feel and that we push aside, because it's like, what's the point of really complaining about it? What's the point of really talking about it? Because you don't often get that, like, I know exactly what you're talking about, girl. Like, it's gonna get better, hang in there. Here are some helpful tidbits to manage your anxiety, get on a schedule, do this, do that. A lot of times you don't actually get that reaction. A lot of times you get that, that's normal. You're a mom. Like, you think when I had my kid, oh God, I really want to say that, okay, this right here is for the older generation. This is for the 50 and older crew. I want you to hear me and hear me with love and receive me. When a younger mom comes to you for advice, for a feedback, or sometimes just to be a listening ear, this is not the time to give your back when I was a girl story about how you had 3 girls, you had 3 boys, your husband, and da-da-da-da-da, and I did it, you can do it, you're no different than me, so what? Like, play the sad violin that you're over here complaining that you're overwhelmed. It's not the time. Oh my gosh, it's not the time. It's so discouraging, because then in that moment you feel no different than talking to a professional or talking to someone else. That not being heard or not being supported in that moment. If I'm coming to you and saying, listen, I'm struggling in this area right now. I know that and I feel like we always defend ourselves, right? I know other moms have went through it. I know other moms, have had more kids than this, and they, had to get it done. They still had to get food on the table before their husband came home. They still had to pick up kids from school. They still had to check homework, feed the baby, pump, all this stuff. They still had to do that, and they did it. But I'm saying I'm struggling in doing it. What advice can you give to me? It's not the saddle up and, pull your panties up, your big girl panties, and do it. It's like, okay, baby, let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about your schedule. Let's talk about your day. What can we do? What areas in your day can we see that we can organize a little bit better so you feel less overwhelmed in the tasks? Because realistically, no disrespect to our mothers and aunties and grandmothers, the work still has to get done. You do still got to clean your house. You do still got to take care of these kids. You do still got to, referee the siblings. You do still got to take care of your husband. You do still got to do all these things. You do still got to take your shower, get yourself out of bed, eat breakfast, brush your teeth, please. You still, all those things still have to be done. So what's important is let's look at your schedule and see how we can make this a little bit more organized so you don't feel so overwhelmed. Let's do that, right? So that's just something that we all can do to support mommies. And listen, let me tell you something about postpartum depression. It's not like this is something that only affects first-time moms. It doesn't matter if it's your first kid or your fourth kid. You can experience, postpartum depression. And when it happens to you, because everyone thinks they're so strong, when it happens to you, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to run off to a clinical psychologist and get a prescription or anything like that. Sometimes you just need an outlet. Sometimes you just need someone to say, listen, bruh, it's hard. Like, I love my baby and I'm so glad that God blessed me with them, but this is a lot. Like this one is crying, this one needs something, the husband needs something, and I just want to breathe without somebody pulling on my pants, pulling on my boob, asking me for this, asking me for that. Like, I just need a minute. Sometimes it's just having those safe spaces where you can take a minute. Now, if you start experiencing like suicidal ideations, or if you start experiencing these vivid, emotions or desires to harm the baby or, another member of your household as a result, please, 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 please do not hide that from your OB. Do not hide that from the people in your life. Do not hide that from your spouse. Let somebody know that you are severely suffering and you need help. It doesn't mean let's take the baby away from you and run away, because that spirals into a whole nother psychosis. But let's tell somebody, let's communicate how we're feeling so that we can get you the proper help you need. Because at the end of the day, mommy, you're only as good. You can only be good to others when you're good to yourself. So acknowledging how you feel and acknowledging what you need in this moment is going to 100% change the atmosphere of your household, and it allows people to support you. A lot of times people do want to support and they don't know, like, what do you need? And unless we're in a position where we're comfortable being vulnerable to say, this is what I need, this is an area I need help in, we don't get the help, okay? So that's what's brewing in the mental health community, okay? Now, we're spilling the beans. Are you ready? Let me tell you what we're spilling the beans on. We're spilling the beans on removing and distancing ourselves from this social media culture that says you have to have it all by a certain time. You have to have it all by a certain age. You have to, and if you're not doing it all, you're a failure. Listen, I've seen so many people walk away from job opportunities, promotions, relationships, all types of things, because it's I follow this influencer on Instagram and child, they're doing this, and they're making 6 figures. What? Listen, y'all. Listen. I want you to know something. Hear me clearly on this, okay? God gives according to your own labor, okay? Listen. Y'all, listen, Linda. God gives according to your own labor, okay? We can take this a million different ways. Listen, just because the people of the internet will have you believing in this very false narrative that all you have to do is manifest something and boom, it happens, and you're just supposed to be a millionaire. That is not so. If you ever listen to an influencer's full story, they will 9 out of 10 let you know the real. Now, that's not going to be all the fluff that they post on their page, because obviously they want to keep appearances and you gotta keep them sponsor deals going and all types of stuff. But sometimes they'll have a live and they'll say how they got here. And I promise you it wasn't popcorn. I promise you it wasn't overnight. There's a really big influencer that I follow myself. She's a really good podcaster. Love her. I won't, plug her here right now because I'm not getting a sponsorship. But she is doing phenomenal with her podcasting, YouTube, all of that good stuff. But she has definitely gone on to say yeah, I've had a viral moment from some stuff I did back on Vine days. Do y'all remember the Vine? Okay, do it for the Vine. I ain't gonna do it for the Vine. Okay, anywho, the Vine days. So she'll talk about how she went viral off of some things that she did on Vine. She went viral off of some things she said on Snapchat. She went viral off some things she did on TikTok. But listen, she also says that after you go viral, that's it. You went viral. A lot of people are now coming to your page and all that stuff. But once they came to your page, what are they going to see? They want to see more of the stuff that you went viral for. So you're still going to have to put in the work. And it still takes time. Can you get that one big hit? You get one good brand deal, one good influencer bag, sure. But how are you going to keep that? How are you going to manage that? And then on the other side, once you get that one good deal, that one good bag, if you don't have any financial literacy, if you don't have no management team, if you don't have no support, listen, you're going to blow through that bag and you'll be right back at point zero trying to figure out how we can do this again. So it still takes work. It still takes time. So listen, y'all, get off of the internet. I love social media for the purposes of it does allow you exposure to a lot of things. It's encyclopedia-ish. Growing up, we had encyclopedias in my house. My parents, I love my parents for many, many reasons, but one thing they made sure that we did, they made sure we was reading. We had a bookshelf in the living room. And not no little small bookshelf. We had a bookshelf that went from wall to wall. And we did have encyclopedias and dictionaries and all that stuff. And let me tell you, anytime you got in trouble, it was not necessarily you gotta get, 1, 2, 3. It was go and get that book and sit down and I want you to read it. And you had to read. And when I say you really had to read it, you had to read it. Because even though, now listen, neither one of my parents are college educated. But they would be and I want to hear, blah, 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 blah from that. I don't know if they would open up the encyclopedia, skim through, find one chapter or one word and read on that and then be all right, I'm going to find out if she really read this whole encyclopedia. If she don't mention this, that she didn't read it. Because I know for a fact that people were not reading cover to cover on the encyclopedias. But they made us do it. And I want to point that out to say, that is what social media is. Social media is our encyclopedia. Social media will expose you to so many things that you may not ordinarily have access to information on. Maybe you haven't seen, anyone in your family touch six figures. Maybe you haven't seen anyone in your family write a successful book. Maybe you haven't seen anyone in your family buy homes or multiple homes, renovate them, flip them, put them back out there on the market, and take care, build legacy like that. Maybe you don't know any trust fund babies personally in your circle of influence, and social media is giving you all of that information on how, the when, the what, the where. But listen, you still have to do your portion. You still have to do your portion. You still have to do your part. Faith without works is dead. So do not buy into the hype of this manifestation, nonsense that goes on media land. I'm manifesting six figures. I'm manifesting, a husband. I'm manifesting, namaste. I'm manifesting, a new promotion. Okay, you put in some job apps. Have you done the research? Have you bought the ebook? Have you, wrote out the vision, made it plain? Have you prayed over it? Have you started calling opportunities? What are you doing? You still got to do your work. You have to do your work. That's faith without works, okay? Yes, you got the faith the size of the mustard seed to have anything in this world. As long as you live in righteous and just, there's nothing God will withhold from you. Yes, that is true. I'm gonna stand on that because I'm a believer, so that is true. But as a believer, I also understand the other side to that. So yes, you gotta ask for anything and God will not withhold from you. However, okay, you also have to do what? You also have to live a life that shows that you are dedicated to your craft. When you start working and walking in the plan that God has already proposed for you, you start building, brick upon brick upon brick on that solid foundation, doors that haven't even been touched by you will start opening. Now, like literally, ask, seek, knock. Read your word. Things will start happening. Playing fields will start shifting. Your name will be made in rooms like you've never even heard of. Like people will know who you are, what you are, whose you are, okay, before it's even spoken. So listen, do the work, okay? Do the work. That's all I'm saying. That's what we're spilling the beans on. Of course, do the work. Do not let social media hype you up to thinking that you're not good enough or that you're not able or that you're not, it's not going to happen for you just because, you didn't wish upon a star or recharge a rock and all this nonsense. Like even prayer is not enough. You have to pray and do the work. Okay, you still have to do something. You still have to, study to show thyself approved. That applies to more than just, the will, manifesting in the word. It also applies to study to show thyself approved and what you're asking for. You're asking to be six-figure boss chick, all this stuff. Okay, well then you need to be a six-figure mind. So we need to be studying up on how to keep six figures, how to manage six figures, what industry is allowing you to pop in six figures, and don't worry about the market being overstimulated or oversaturated with people who are doing the things that you want to do. If God gave you the vision, he's going to provide the provision for you to walk it out. Please, I don't believe in that. But I'm just saying, you still got to do the work. Okay, God gave you the vision. You got to do the work to say, okay, I'm ready to walk this thing out. I'm trying to run with this so that we can be great together. Okay. You are not higher than the Lord. The Lord is higher than you. So you got to just put in your effort to make this thing shake. Okay. So listen, honey, that's what we're spilling the tea on today. I'm going to go ahead and let you know. This episode is a little bit longer because it's late. So if you're still hanging in there with me, thank you. I love you. Listen, we are in our roast session, which is also known as our mommy moment. This is the time where we get into all things mommyhood without any mom guilt, mom shaming. We don't do that over here. This is a safe space, okay? This is a safe space and a safe place, okay? Can we talk about surviving singlehood as a mom? Woo! Look at that finger. Real single. Okay. Okay. So listen, it is not easy. Okay. So I was married. I am now divorced. I have been divorced for 4 years this year. 4 years. I've been separated from my ex-husband for 5 years, but my divorce will be 4 years this year. And it's so crazy because, okay, so now I'm in a place where I've done the work, I've done the therapy, I've done the counseling with my pastors, the life coaching. Shout out to pastors Bishop Keith and Latanya Williams. Amazing Faith Outreach Experience is lit. Okay, so I've done the self-healing work in that area to be able to want to open up my heart again and want to be able to share my life with another person and be in a space where I am now thinking about dating, considering marriage again, considering expanding my family and having more kids, all of that stuff. So I am in that space right now as I am approaching 30, and I'm like, okay, we gotta start thinking about these things. And when I say it is so different. So I married very, very young, like very fresh out of high school. So I did not really have the opportunity to like date around and all that stuff. So I can't really speak to that aspect, but I can tell you dating with a kid is not easy. Like it's not easy. It's not like you could just, somebody asks you out today in the middle of Giant and you be like, yes, let's go to coffee right now. Or let's have dinner tomorrow night. Like, I can't. Like, I literally can't. It's like, ooh, okay, let me check my calendar. Let you check your calendar. Let's get back with a good date. I need to find a sitter. I need to make sure it's okay. Well, how far are we going to be? Excuse me. How far away are we going to be from, from where the pickup location is for my kid? And if I don't get a sitter, then we can't go because you can't come to my house. I'm not going to your house. My child can't meet you. I can't, we can't have those type of interactions because we don't know each other. And, you can't put your child in a compromising situation. And then also your overall safety. So it's just like, it's so different, the dynamic of even trying to like make yourself seen, or because it's like, as a woman, I don't feel like I'm obligated to find my husband because that goes against what the Bible says, like he that findeth. Okay, so I'm trying to be found. Okay, and people do ask me out. People do say like, hey, I want to take you out. I think you're beautiful. I would love to get to know you more. But literally, it's just like so hard to actually date because there are so many apprehensions on both sides. I had a conversation with one guy who's a friend, not somebody that I'm, trying to date or anything. And he was telling me, when he is trying to approach someone who's a single mom, he's like, as someone who doesn't have kids, he has to be like super, super considerate and patient for their time and their schedule. And, he's not trying to jump into a role, of stepdaddy, like on the first, second, third date. Like he really wants to kind of build connections and develop a foundation with the mom, knowing all the while in the back of their head that, okay, she does have a kid. So eventually, like, that's going to come into play. And so that just makes me feel like, woo, there's so many things in this dating arena with a kid that you're just like unaware of. So I just want to encourage my mommies who, might be in the same situation or predicament that I'm in, where it's like, you're divorced, your child is older now, and you're ready, like you're finally kind of in a groove of life. You kind of did all your self-work as far as like being healed from that past hurt, and now you're ready and you're open. I just wanted to encourage you mommies too, be patient. Like, know that God has somebody for you where you will not have to compromise on your standards. You will not have to compromise on your morality. You will not have to compromise on your growth. You will not have to compromise on your child's well-being. Like, none of that stuff. Like, it's going to be someone who fits well with what you are petitioning the Lord for. So I just want to throw that out there because, child, we are surviving singlehood. And as much as the dating pool is very much so, I can't even find a positive word for it. It's just very much so. I just have to hold on to my belief that there is someone for everybody. And the someone for me, I'm not gonna have to share him. He's gonna love the Lord. I'm looking for that man, okay? I want someone to love me the way that Christ loves the church. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Because listen, we've done it the other way and it hasn't worked. So listen, this is not a plea for me to advertise my singlehood, but I just wanted to encourage some mommies who are also on this journey of singleness to hang in there. Like, it's hard. I see a lot of people who are getting all booed up and getting engaged and proposed to. A lot of my friends are having more children. This girl, we and her were pregnant with our children at the same time, and like, she has since just announced like a pregnancy announcement. She's having another baby, and I'm like, she's having her second, and I'm still on my first. It's 7 years later. And so I had like the little moment of like feeling a little like sad. Like, I'm happy for her, don't get me wrong, like, happy for you, girl, like, yes, Tasha. But I felt a little bit like kind of sad for myself. Like, people are passing me by, honey, and I'm just kind of still hanging out here with my solo dolo, just me and my baby girl, okay, me and my twin and my and but it's okay. I say all that to say it's okay. God will provide, and of course everything happens in his timing and in his perfect timing, and I don't want to rush that process and end up with a nut who will be harmful or be a distraction, or it will tear me down, or worse, my child. So be patient, women. Be patient. God has somebody for us. And although it may seem hard, and there's so many negative things being said about single moms and how they just want a stepdaddy and all this stuff. They just want a financial, a benefactor. Listen, I don't care what the city girls has told you. Everybody ain't a city girl. Everybody is not a gold digger. And everybody isn't looking for a replacement father. Okay? I want a partner. And by being a partner, you will automatically become a step parent. But listen, that don't mean from the rip I'm looking for someone to take on or walk in a fatherly role for a person, because you're not going to meet my baby until there's some establishments and some commitments that are already in the forefront. Like, we're going to have some type of foundation here. So I know, mommies, it seems very, very hard right now to wait, to withhold with keeping yourself, even this whole celibacy journey. Because you get lonely, it's hard. But listen, it's not impossible, and I'm telling you, it's a lot of stuff going on out here. You don't want to catch nothing they got, okay? And you also don't want to get yourself in any type of predicament. You don't want to be soul tied to nobody that's not going anywhere, that doesn't want to support you, that doesn't want to love you the way you should be loved, that doesn't want to value the foundation. Like, I've had somebody tell me, like, man, I don't want no ready-made family because you already come as a family because I have a child. And in the moment, I was really like, okay, well, forget you. Okay, because forget you. But in actuality, I am a family. I am already managing and running a household. That is correct. And I do come with a child. So when someone does approach me, I do have to let them, like, it's I'm not going to hide and say I don't have a child, or I need so much help with managing. I'm already doing that. I just want someone to do it with me. That's true. And, that's not a bad thing, mommies. I don't want anyone to discourage you into thinking that it's a bad thing that you're already like independent, you're already managing your household, you already have a kid. It's not a bad thing. It means you're already coming with some skills. Okay, you're already coming with some skills because you've already had to do it by yourself. You know what it means. You understand the predicament that a man is against with having to make every single decision for the betterment of that household financially, emotionally, mentally, having sound decisions. You already know you're already coming with the wisdom on what it means to take care of a child, how to prioritize the schedule, how to prioritize wants over needs. Like, you're already coming with some type of foundation. So when that man comes on, when he joins you, when he takes over and leads the house, you can easily submit to him. If he's being led by God, you can submit to him and allow him to do his thing. And I feel like you're better equipped to support him. You're better equipped to support a man because you understand. Oh, I can't wait, baby. Listen. I have no issues with being a submissive wife. Come on in here. Okay, I will sit on down. Listen, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit on down. In this episode with a little coffee with Christ, okay? Today's a little juice with Christ, okay? But Proverbs 16:32 says it's better to be patient. It's better to be a patient person than a warrior. Okay, it says it's better to be one with self-control than to take over a city. And what that is saying to us today is it's better to be patient and to be led by the Lord and to be, sound in your decision making than to be a warrior just like bumping out everything, knocking things down, overtaking cities, making rash decisions that lead nowhere. Like, it's important to have self-control. It's important to have discipline in this season. It's crucial to your survival to have discipline in this season. So I just wanted to encourage you all. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for listening. I thoroughly apologize for this episode being late, but I made up for it by making this episode very, very long. So don't say, oh, you did not release this episode when you're supposed to, girl, and then you gave us some little short 20-minute episode. I tried my very best to give it all to you all. Also, it is Black History Month. It is Heart Health Awareness. So that is another reason why we're drinking our juice, because we are concerned about our heart health. We are trying to make sure like we live a long life, a healthy life, because that is God's desire for you to live a prosperous and good health life, okay? And also, with this being Black History Month, I do want to tell you all, there are so many incredible Black psychologists, there are so many incredible Black social scientists that are doing so much important research for the betterment of our communities, for the betterment of our mental health, and for the betterment of us as a whole person, addressing the whole person. There is less than 40% of Black psychologists in the psychology community. And so there is a need to address the Black experience and what that looks like from people who are like-minded and who look like you and I, or maybe you are not African American, but maybe you are an ally to what the Black experience looks like, from poverty to social justice to police brutality. There's so many things that really need to be addressed within this particular community, from people who understand what it means to be in this community, to be in this marginalized community, this underserved, underrepresented population of people. So I encourage you to think someone who is doing something, maybe not in the psychology field, but just someone in your family, someone in your office, someone in your friends list, someone at your church, someone who is doing incredible things, to just give them their flowers and let them know that you appreciate what they are doing to improve, to help, and to better our community. That's all. I can't wait to see you next week. Until then, have a good one. Oh, and And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. If this video helps you in any kind of way, please do not hesitate to go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how we can help. If there's some more that you want to hear from me, if there's a topic you want me to address, if there's a question you have that you want acknowledged or answered, please put it in the comments so that I can address it and I can help us all heal together. Till next time.